two. Okay, we will talk to our legal lady, Jill Winebanks, in just a bit. But it's speaking of lovers.
Good morning, Charlie Pierce. I hope that Paxlovid works really well for you.
It is.
Your candy
and my
striper.
deep feelings for you are carrying me through this time of woe.
Charlie Pierce says, COVID, you said, can we talk about tonight's news?
This is not time of woe, by the way. This is time of
whoa! Of wee! You said, can we talk about tonight's news coming right when I'm starting my quarantine because COVID has come to call? Oh, if ever there was any entertaining television, though, during a COVID isolation.
I couldn't believe it. And like all of America, I'm still, the amazing thing to me is still that I found out about it from an email from Donald Trump.
That's the best part.
Right. He fundraised off of it immediately.
And I put it up on Twitter and I said, look, does anybody know anything about this?
Yeah.
And cable news didn't catch up for like half an hour.
Yeah. I mean, you were on fire on Twitter since you've got all this free time. Someone tweeted, Jim Jordan seems upset, and you said, put on a coat and eat a large bowl of heavily salted. Okay. Kevin McCarthy said, Attorney General Garland, preserve your documents, clear your calendar. And you said, that spittle won't lick itself. Charlie, on fire on the Twitters.
They don't, see, the thing is, I honestly believe all of those people, they don't know what the FBI grabbed.
Right.
So, Jim Jordan doesn't know what they have.
They're way out on a limb.
Kevin McCarthy doesn't know what they have.
Yeah.
That's the thing. But again, I go along with, all of the FBI law enforcement types who say there is no federal judge who ever lived who signs off on this warrant unless it's absolutely copper-riveted.
Yeah.
They've got somebody saying something, not just, suspicions of what may or the fact that the National Archives is pissed. I love the National Archives, and I think the people who work there are wonderful, but that's not enough to get a federal judge to sign off on a warrant either.
Yeah, right. We were saying with Eastman and Clark, they were saying what it takes to get a warrant to get a raid on an attorney like that. But you're right, really, for the former president.
I think so. If I were king of the forest, I would be very interested in what Pat Cipollone's already told them.
Yeah.
Or Mark Meadows.
Yeah.
Noel Castler speculated, what did Mark Meadows, how did they know there was stuff in the safe?
Somebody's singing because they have a witness.
Yeah.
That knows something about what was seized. And did you see the stack of documents? We're not talking about like a couple of trapper keepers here.
Right. Right. Yeah. But, we were saying, Charlie, it feels to me like it would have to be national security, meaning what, it would be an easy guess for a lot of us is that he was selling or profiting or going to off of classified information.
Well, yeah. And I'm sitting here, in enforced isolation. So my paranoia is running extremely wild. This comes hard on the heels of that massive criminal indictment of the Russian guy who's spreading the disinformation. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying one or two of those are connected, but it's interesting that they happened in the same week.
Well, also, I was saying it is amazing, because I think it was Jody, you first speculated about Russia stuff because Paul Manafort finally made his first public admission. He shared polling data with Konstantin Kalimnik. He says the purpose of sharing the data was not to get Trump elected, to make money for himself. They're all the same. Right. It was both, actually. But he said Kalimnik passed the data to Russian spies, according to the U.S. Treasury Department, which was characterized the data as sensitive information on polling and campaign strategy. Manafort's acknowledgement contradicts his earlier denials during obviously the Mueller investigation that he had anything to do with the transfer of sensitive campaign data. It also differs from the account he gives in his memoir, which he concedes only that he presented Kalimnik with talking points on polling data that was already public. The data I shared with him he said was a combination of public information and stuff that was old. It was one of his primary lines of defense. The data he funneled to Kalimnik was essentially worthless. Contrary to Manafort's claim, the data was not from the spring. It was collected in mid-July, 2 weeks before the meeting with Kalimnik. So what we already knew has now been proven. Everything he said was a lie. But so you're right. Well, how much of the stuff is Russian related that they're?
I don't know. I think I mean, they obviously have to have a specific reason for grabbing what they grabbed. And I think, it probably is the National Archives stuff. But that being said, I think the plain sight exception is getting a real workout down there.
Yeah.
And as we all know, and not that I'm in any way endorsing police misconduct, but the plain sight exception is as broad or as narrow as the investigating officer wants to make it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, doesn't it feel like it's, this thing we say about justice feels like it's never coming and then it comes all at once? I mean, Alex Jones text.
That's what Glenn Kirshner and I have been saying.
Yes.
Just patient. It's
like
all
John
happening
Gotti.
under-
Yeah,
it's
John
like
Gotti.
water polo. The really dirty stuff is happening under the surface.
Yes.